Okay, boys and girls, that would be another week of going live, baby.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. So it's the old man gaming hour.
Yes,
Or
it
so.
is. We are fresh off recovering from a long day yesterday. But we're going to attempt to get through the faction focus articles this week. There's not a lot in them, but there's some new stuff. And then also we're going to give our review of our RTT we ran yesterday. So should be good. Should be a good time.
I'm psyched.
Before we get into a lot of the stuff, if you guys want to hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All the links are in the About section here on Twitch. So hit the buttons, do the things, make us happy, and all that stuff. What about outside of Warhammer? Did we do anything this week outside of Warhammer?
It's the holiday week. We've just been doing things, living the life. Me and Ethan played a little bit of Marvel. I think I played some Shatterpoint with you. We didn't even prep for our tournament. In fact, I didn't even come up with my list until the night before, and we'll talk about that in a minute on the work desk.
Yeah, well, I mean, you attempted a test game with Iron Jaws.
Yeah, that was super fun.
And then I didn't realize what I wanted to test was such a bad matchup for that. But yeah, so I probably made you change your mind. But you do that.
Maybe, but I wasn't sold on Iron Jaws
yeah.
anyway.
But yeah, I didn't do much outside of Warhammer because obviously most of this week went into prepping for the tournament.
Yeah.
And getting everything finalized and together and stuff. So, but I actually think later today, the wife and I are going to go to farmers market, probably in Detroit. She wanted to go up there to the Eastern Market. So,
oh, nice.
We'll probably run up there for a little while before it rains. But that's the only plans I think we have. So.
I'm going to hang out with Ethan for a little bit longer and then headed to Lansing. I'll be there for 10 days. So next show will be from the Aloha room.
All right. Aloha. All right. On the work desk, I know I did a few things this week in the hobby. What'd you end up doing?
Well, as I said, I decided at 11:45 lists were due at midnight. You said they had to be done that day. So I decided to play IDK, played some sharks, and I had 5 sharks built, so I had to build 3. So I spent the evening building sharks and then looking up the rules to try to figure out how to play them. And I got about an hour of sleep before our tournament, which is normal for me. It's kind of my MO since I'm a night shift person. But yeah, so I built and learned sharks in one night.
Yeah, when you texted me that, it was like, he's like, I get a text from Josh and it says, yeah, figured it out. Sharks. I went, where did he get all the sharks from? I don't even know he had that many sharks. But alas, they were in boxes. So
we had 4 built, and then I went to the game room, and Logan said, "Oh yeah, Daryl's got some built ones in the back." So I went because he had traded his in. I went back there, and he had 1 built one. I don't know what Logan was thinking, but there was 1 built one. So I snatched that up, and then he had 3 on the wall. Yeah, I think he had 4 on the wall, and I only took 3 because I felt like that's more than enough. And I actually still have 1 in a box. I didn't need a 9th one.
I didn't need no. Well, yeah, just take out a hero and add another shark.
Yeah, that's not the right answer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, building sharks, that's fun. I did not pull off the crazy man shit like Josh did. I went to bed at a normal time, but this week, the only things I did on the hobby side was I painted up a few terrain pieces, which turned out to be actually pretty nice on the table.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They went with some of the other, yeah, they went with some of the other terrain that that Tim provided. I think that table was really cool.
I did too. I thought that was a nice table. I didn't get to play on it, but it was nice.
But yeah, that's really the only thing I did. I got 2 of those buildings painted for the tournament. I wanted to do a third one, but I didn't have the time, or I didn't want to stay up all night like Josh.
Well, it turned out though we had more than enough because Nick brought a couple tables worth of stuff, and we mixed and matched some of Nick's and Tim's on one table, and yeah, I mean it worked out. We were nervous, but Tim came through clutch. So kudos to Tim for putting in the work, and hopefully we can get a couple more tables, and we'll be ready to roll for a GT come this winter. But yeah, I mean it was impressive, and the tables were everything I heard from people were the tables look great, better than some GTs. So
yeah, which is really cool, I think, because you know, going into the first tournament we ever ran, and you know, most of the terrain, like you said, Tim provided. You got 3D printed and painted up, and along with some of the stuff we had and Nick had, or whatever. Yeah, I think they turned out really good. I don't think there was one table where I looked at it and was like, that's kind of dumb looking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have GTs where you show up and you go, I just don't. Well, I don't know about that table.
We didn't stick to 8 per table either. I mean, if we had extra and it kind of fit the theme, we threw it on there.
Yeah.
And so like, I feel like that also, like 8 per table is the minimum, you know? And so I think, you know, having that extra little bit of stuff is actually, it actually just added to it.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, you're right with that, because the extra pieces we did add were like maybe some trees or like some flatter pieces that you could walk on. So it wasn't like it was just 9 or 10 big buildings or something on a table, and it was hard to play around or something like that. Just the tables looked good. You could play on them well. The only thing I'll have to see if some more people got pictures of the tables, because it's one thing I think I didn't think of at the time was like I took some full room shots, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't take pictures of like each individual table before like play started. Which I guess we can do that next time.
I'm trying to look here. Oh, I got a picture of somebody else's. Oh no, this is a game I played, but it was on that table you were talking about with your buildings. I thought I didn't play on it, but I did. But I'll send it to you. That's the only picture I took, though.
Just throw all the anything you have or whoever. I just told everybody to put it in the OMG events thing on the Discord channel. I posted all the ones I had in my phone and some pictures that Adam sent me yesterday, so I just photo dumped them all in there.
Got you.
Yeah, so anyways, plug for the Discord channel if anybody wants to join up. There is a link for that, and then you can get on there and see all the photos from our event that we have posted so far. But what we want to do right now is we want to do a little bit of a recap review type of thing of our event, since we're going to be talking about recent events here.
Yep.
So let me get that pulled up real quick here. All right. So we ran the OMG RTT at Our House Games, which is our local game store here in Monroe,
Montucky.
We ended up having 18 players, including myself as the ringer, just because it had a last minute drop the night before. We did have most of the time since we started advertising this, we had 20 players.
Yeah.
And we probably had a total of maybe 6 or 7 drops, like all together. But every time somebody would drop, I had somebody else that wanted to get in.
Yeah.
So kudos to the AoS community and the guys that love this game like we do. It was pretty awesome seeing like how many times we got it full back up to 20. For our first event, running it at a store that never ran an AoS event before, I think the turnout was fantastic.
Yeah, the owner came in at some point and was like, I think we're going to do this. And it's like, whoa, calm down, buddy. We'll decide.
Yeah, he was excited. He got a lot of foot traffic in, I know. And I want to give a big high five to all the people that came to the event because they supported the store that day. It was pretty evident that the guys went in there, bought. He doesn't have a giant selection of stuff to choose from, but they bought up some stuff. They for off his shelf, and then snacks and pops and drinks and whatever. So I know that they put some money into the store, which is exactly what it's meant to do, right?
Yeah, that's why you host.
Yep. So the store owner was real happy, which is good for us because I'm sure he'll never say no to us if we want to hold another thing there. So,
yeah.
So
that wasn't bad. I was a little nervous about the size of the room, but once we got things situated, we had plenty of room for everyone to play their games. And I mean, most of the tables you could walk all the way around 360. So that was pretty good. Couple tables we had like some long tables, but otherwise, I mean, I thought it was
it was real roomy in there, I think, compared to some things we've been to.
Sure.
Anyways, we did hold this at Our House Games. I was going to pull up the old street view here.
Okay. Rob style.
Yeah, Rob style. Where he goes, oh, look at this little quaint place. Great place to play Warhammer. Whatever. But yeah, it's I guess I heard from a couple people that it kind of looks like a auto repair shop from the outside. If you just drive by and never been there before.
Probably
I think it used to be. Because the room we played in has a big like bay door that you can open up, like garage door. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's the local store, Our House Games. So hopefully we'll have some more events there in the future. We do want to go over the event itself. This event, we had 3 people that finished 3-0. We had John Harris win the tournament with his Ogre Maltribe's Boulderhead list. And we're just going to review a couple lists here to give you guys an idea what was on the tables. So John's list, Boulderhead, Ogre Maltribe's, Slaughter the Sorcery Grand Strat. He had a Frostloan on Stonehorn with the Voice of the Avalanche and the artifact of the Seed of Avligor. And his mount trait was the Metal Crusher. He also brought Kragnos.
I think Kragnos did some work for him.
Yeah, I think that was a good choice for this particular list. Then he had 2 Stonehorn Beast Riders and Mournfang pack. So not a lot of models. He brought it in a little teeny box. But he also said, look, I just want to play like a fast game with low model count, and he did.
That's my favorite way.
Yeah, turns out it's not all that bad, which that's foreshadowing for something to come here. So congratulations to John Harris, taking home the first place trophy. Handcrafted trophy, I might add. Coming in second place was Tom. Tom also played Ogre Mall Tribes, but a meat fist list. And his grand strat was Overshadow. He brought Frostload on Stonehorn with the Rockmane Elder mount trait and the Pouch and Null Dust. He brought a Tyrant as his general with the Killer Reputation command trait and the Gruesome Trophy Rack as his artifact. He ran 2 units of Gluttons, 2 units of Iron Guts, 1 being reinforced, and a unit of Lead Belchers, coming in at 1960.
So no casters with the first 2 lists.
Yeah. I've played Tom before with this list. I think he made some tactical mistakes at the high ground tournament I played him in. But that was back when Flesh Eaters could attack twice.
Well, there's no tactical way to get around that.
Well, I mean, like, he didn't have his Stonehorn anywhere near the fight for a couple turns, so that's what the thing was in our game. But yeah, performed real well at our tournament here. So congratulations to Tom for second place.
Played Tim in the last round, and it looks like he got a
20.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know what happened there. We'll have to ask Tim about that. I don't know how Tim scored a 0.
20-0. Bumped
Tim
him
got
probably up to second place.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Because, yeah, it sure did. Because he would have been, well, maybe not. Michael only took a 12 in third round. But yeah, so he completely smashed Tim. That'll be interesting to find out from Tim what exactly happened in that game.
Yeah.
But our buddy Michael Roush finished third place with his Fire Slayers list. This list, I don't know what to say about this list because it gives me a little bit of like PTSD because it's I've faced it twice. He annihilated me 1 game at the game room in Toledo. Another time, I faced it for a second time at a high ground event, and we technically tied in score, but I got a minor victory because Mike dropped a tactic. So it was just like this is like really hard to deal with. But he's running the Greyfeared sub-faction with Masters of the Forge Grand Strat, which is real difficult to deny if you don't have a priest, turns out.
Impossible to deny if you don't have a priest. I've played against it 3 times. Same virtual list. Twice at the game room, lost both times. I played him with trolls and I think my daughters early on last year testing for for Adepticon, and then this year I played him at High Ground. Oh no! I did play him at High Ground, but he wasn't playing this. But this year now I played him at RGG, and I played him with the Sharks, and we tied in score in the game, but he got the grand strat at the end because you can't do anything about it.
Yep.
If you don't have a priest, and last I heard, elves don't roll a lot of priests.
Well,
so
thank God for 4th edition coming, huh?
Yeah, I can't wait to be able to blow that thing off the table. Of course, there's no grand strats in 4th edition, so it would have been a tie game in 4th edition. But what are you going to do?
Well, it is what it is. But yeah, so his list running down, he had a Rune Father, a Rune Master as his general with the High Priest and Volatile Brazier. He also ran a Rune Smiter with a hand-carved Nullstone and a Battlesmith.
Caster, 3 top lists.
Yeah, with a Nullstone icon. So he took 2 different Unbinders, which is probably pretty smart to deny some casting.
Yeah.
And then his this is the crazy part about his list. So the rest of the army is 2 units of Volkite Berserkers, a unit of Hearthguard, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Grimwrath Berserker. No, 9. Sorry, 9 Grimwrath Berserkers.
Yeah,
which it's tough to deal with these because they're single model units, and they're like he runs them to kind of together. So if you kill one, or if you split your attacks, it's hard to reliably kill a bunch of them. But they have fight on death, and if you don't kill them, they're fighting you, and then they're going to fight you on death later. It's hard. It's real hard to deal with all the little dudes for some reason.
Yeah.
And then of course he's got the Molten Infernoff and the Flame Spitter, so he can get his Grand Strap by putting an invocation out. Yeah. Mike plays it real well. Turns out Fireslayer's kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've played against it 3 times, and I actually came in. I always end up playing Roush. This will be my probably 4th time I've played him, and I knew I was going to play him, and so I kind of was thinking about my list and what I wanted to bring, just based on knowing he was going to play that silly list. Shout out to Logan from the game room and Dell on the chat right now.
Morning, boys.
And then 4th place.
Oh yeah, the Ringer. The Ringer would be me. I filled in. I wanted to play something fun, something that I always wanted to play, but wasn't necessarily the best tournament list. So I said, screw it, let's just play this. So I ran Flesh Eater Courts again, no surprise, but this time I ran it in the Gristlegore sub-faction with Expand the Kingdom as the Grand Strat. Not fun for anybody else. Thanks, E. But I brought Usharan, the Ghoul King on Royal Zombie Dragon, with the Blood River Chalice, which gives him a once per game 2d3 heal. He had the Ventured Zombie Dragon trait that gives +1 for all monsters that hit within 12 inches of him, and Flaming Weapon, so he could be nasty if he needed to be. I brought Grand Justice Gormain for his 3-up judgment abilities that he can hand out. Mostly it was to give the monsters run in charge to get back in the fight if they were extended. My general was the Gore Warden with the command trait to bring back dead monsters. He ran also the Grim Garland as an artifact to give a 9-inch bubble of -2 bravery. And then he did bring Merciless Blizzard, which was just there just in case,
Yeah.
Something gets close to my dragons, maybe I can pop that off. The rest of the list goes Terrorgeist, Zombie Dragon. That's it. Not a lot of models. I brought the Chalice of Usharan to try to cast out to do some healing onto my monsters, which most of the time I forgot to cast. But I think what I try to do with this is just have fun with a bunch of monsters, and with Usharan's -2 bravery mechanic, and the with the artifact from the general, plus the monstrous action where I can hand out -2 bravery to something, you can kind of reliably get something like to -5 bravery.
Yeah.
So basically, whatever you get to that, Usharan can hand out strike last to those things. And then with the Gristlegore subfaction, you pick a monster, you get strikes first, and then you fight with another monster, and then Usharan handed strike last to something. So you can really do a lot of damage up front in a combat phase. So,
well, and then in your shooting phase with those Royal Terrorgeists, I mean, you scream stuff off.
Yeah. because the bravery is debuffed, and then you can do that. But yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they do when bravery's gone next edition.
Yeah, I've been having a few conversations about that with some different guys, and it's like this list in particular is based around being able to debuff your bravery to do extra stuff.
Yeah.
So this list just does not exist in 4th edition unless they give some other, unless the mechanic changes to something else. But yeah. So, anyways, that was my list. And then 7th place. Look who showed up.
Well, I was just doing the math. I tied score wise with the guy in 6th. I thought I was 6th earlier. I'm not sure what the thing is.
There's probably opponent win percentage or something was a tiebreaker down the road.
My guy played so in the first round I played Roush. Like I said, it went down to Grand Strat. I mean, I peeled a lot of his little freaking fatties off the table, but there wasn't much I could do. My Grand Strat was to kill all of your battle line and have you not kill mine. He didn't kill mine, but I also did not get his off. But, you know, I mean, 4-up freaking rally with those dwarves is brutal. And then Branson Shaw, I played him. He was playing the Daughters of Cain. And what can I say? I had a 0-point turn 2, and I still tabled him on turn 3. And that was fine. And then Paul, I played in the last round. It was a shootout. He was playing what was it? The KO.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I ran my Slap King straight up the middle, thinking I could get a charge in, and I didn't get there. And he stood there with Finest Hour and Mystic Shield and cover from the round and cover from the turtle. And so basically, I lived all of his shooting. Every single thing had to shoot him because he was the closest unit. And he lived for the first round against every shot that KO did. He took 6 wounds and had 1 left. And then went in and proceeded to slap. So, yeah, it was fun times. So, yeah, we can look at my list real quick if you want.
You got it pulled up?
So, yep, I brought the Tidecaster as my general with Shaman of the Chilled Lands just to have that utility. And then he had Steed of Tides just for some mobility. I used it once against Roush to get Tactic. It's tough. I don't love all of IDNS Tactics, but they did have the one where if you take a Ishran character and put it and you take an objective in the opponent's territory. So that was good. And then he had the Rune of the Surging Gloomtide, which gives him a second right or whatever they are. Then the Slap King with the polearm, typical mount or typical fashion there. I took him with the Void Chill Darkness. I like to play a little more defensive, and that gives you -1 to hit him, which I prefer. He already slaps hard enough without any other bonuses. And then if you scroll, there's 8 Alapexes. Kudos to Logan for helping me out getting those the night before. And I spent, like I said, I stayed up till I think I was up till about 4 watching some Marvel and building those Alapexes. And then I worked on some cards that I ended up actually forgetting until 6, and then went to bed and slept for a little bit. And then my last model, which is on the bottom of the screen, we'll have to wait till Jake comes back from his thing.
What do you want? Oh, Leviathan. I was going to say, what do you? Yeah. It's all sharks.
Is my Leviathan. And then, I'll go back to something. And he has the reverberating carapace, which lets him his buff go out extra distance. And then I was wrong. The artifact I took lets me bring a second Gloomtide Shipwreck, which was kind of interesting. I just used it basically to block. If somebody was walking, they had to walk around 2 shipwrecks instead of walking around just 1. So I found that kind of an interesting piece of tech. I just kind of played it like what I would with like when I usually do endless spells to try to keep somebody from getting to me, I did kind of
Yeah.
the same thing and blocked off stuff so they couldn't get through to my characters as easy. So um, that was it. That was the way it played. It's super fast. I really liked it a lot. I liked the shooting. We'll see if you could play it in the next edition because that may be on my roster of playable lists. It was a lot of fun to play, and my games were all done in like short amount of time. So overall, I would give that A plus, especially since I was able to go 2-3 or 2-1 in the top half, having learned the rules that morning.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think and Michael was talking about your game with me afterwards. You said you did fine. You know, like you probably could have beat him. Which actually he said you should have beat him.
well, I think I should too.
Yeah. So I think it's just one of those things where if you had played a couple games prior,
Yeah, I knew
you would have done something different. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, in the future, we'll see. I mean, that's what I do, though. I always switch it up, and I never get great at one particular list, and it's going to end up costing me.
But let's go. I wanted to see. I hadn't looked at the full roster yet. Where our other team members ended up.
Adam at 13th.
Yep, looks like Adam at 13th with his King Broad Stomp list. Tim in 15th with his Iron Jaws Bloodtooth list, which looks like he got smashed in 2 games. Oh.
Yeah, but he crushed in that first game, and
Yeah.
I thought we all lost in the first round except for Tim, and I thought, oh, geez, Tim's going to run away with this. But then he fell apart. I'm not real sure.
And then we ended up having Matt with his Stormcast Hallowed Knights list, which we kind of thought this was going to happen, but he said he had a lot of fun playing the games. He is like an AoS version. Like he's very new to the game. Yeah, his first full tournament he's ever played. But hopefully, like he said, he had enough fun where he wanted to do it again. So we'll get him out to some more events, I think. And then rounding off, kind of wish we had a wooden spoon award that we would have came up with because we would have been able to give it to none other than Easy E.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with him. The first round, there was a mistake with some rules.
Yeah,
he played against Giants. He says his list isn't quite as optimized as it's an older list, and he hasn't updated it with the times, basically. And then he played Giants again round 2, and he said and that was against Adam, and he said there was some mistakes with some rules, but I don't think that it really probably ended up making a huge difference. And then in his last round, I'm trying to remember who he played. He played against the other guy playing Iron Jaws. He'll be up a little bit. It doesn't matter. He got beat up in that one. So yeah, he said it didn't make too big of a difference, the mistakes with the rules. But yeah, and you're going to get that, especially in a tournament like ours. There was a lot of fresh new players. Yeah. There were some experienced people too, but a lot of new players, and so people are going to make mistakes. And I mean, it happens.
I think we had a good mix. There wasn't anything that outside of like new player inexperience. Like there wasn't any drama or any kind of thing like that. The camaraderie was real good. Yeah. We did have a handful of people show up to try to come back there in the back room and check out to see what was going on, like customers of the store and people stopping in and stuff, which was real nice. But overall, I think it went real smooth. Good enough to run some more for sure.
Yeah, I think we'll probably go back there as a host. We talked about it a little after the thing, and I'm confident the store owner was happy with his boost in sales and stuff during the day. And I think we can probably continue to host there. He talked about maybe getting some AC in that back room, which would be sexy. But otherwise, I think, it was really, it was a nice situation. So next time, maybe not do the pizza, maybe just do, take a break, take an hour, lunch and go. I mean, there's lots of restaurants in the area. So, but I mean, it is what it is. If people want to do the pizza, if people like the pizza, I mean, we can continue to do that. But I think next time we'll go down the road and just grab something. There's lots of places. So, but regardless, I really, I want to give kudos to you for running the event. Like you said, it was nice and smooth. I'm always wary of an event runner playing in the event, but you did. I mean, there were no hiccups or anything as far as that goes. Kudos to Tim for putting in the work to get us to the train. And then obviously when we talk in a little bit about Gray Matter Gaming and Michelle Anderson, kudos to them. But without any of the four of you guys, probably wouldn't have got everything done. So yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. So hopefully we get to the point where the next time we run one, like you said, I can sit back. There was some things I would have done had I not had to play. Social media wise type of stuff, like take videos and make some TikToks or take more pictures of everything. And but that'll come, I guess. I guess we'll have some times where you really can't prevent last minute drops. In any tournament, but
and I would have been willing to drop also to help out with things, but that's fine. In time we're gonna have full events anyways, so it won't matter. And we won't even.
And with it being the holiday weekend, like I said, we end up having like 6 or 7 total drops.
We had 18 guys on a holiday weekend.
Yeah. So I mean, there's no complaints there at all.
No.
Upcoming events. There was one that just made an announcement. LVO has room blocks available right now.
Yeah. I just read it today on Facebook. I guess there's a lot of people coming from out of the country, and they had already booked flights. They wanted to get their room situated, and that's what the intranet said. So they haven't, and then it had mentioned about 3 weeks out for tickets to events. So if you're going to go to LVO, we've talked about it. I don't know if this is going to be the year, but if you're going to go to LVO, that is on the internet right now. You can get your room block booked at the Rio. They claim that the rooms are getting updated. There's new ownership there. I've been to the Rio a couple times. I'm not super impressed with their casino. I've never stayed there. Hopefully
from the players that went out there last year, so the rooms were real nice because they just had updated a bunch of rooms last year, I guess.
Well, hopefully they do more work. It needs some updating. I had heard they were going to tear that casino down, so maybe not. Maybe they're going to leave it up for a little bit longer. It's hard to tell, but
anyways, if you did want to go out to that one, LVO is currently holds the record for largest AoS tournament in the world. I think they had 300 plus players last year, which is insane for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
I mean, what do we see at Adepticon? Was it like 170?
Yeah, it was in the
something like that.
70 range.
So it's basically double that out at LVO, which is wild. It's wild. That'd be a wild tournament to play in.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if 5 games would get there. Like, I was thinking that us having 3 games with this many people was kind of questionable because we had 3 people that were 3-0. But I mean, if you have 5 games with 300 people, there's going to be half the field is freaking 3-0.
Well, I think they did the 5-0 or 5 games, and then they had a top 8 cut or something.
They have to do that.
Something like that, yeah. But as you alluded to earlier, we do want to, again, give some shout outs to our sponsors. Gray Matter Gaming, Andy really helped us out with the mats for the tournament, and also provided a bunch of goodies to hand out, which I think everybody was pretty pleased with, because when we did the raffle to give away prizes, I think just about everybody got something. I'm pretty sure.
Close. Yeah,
it was pretty close. I mean, we did have some people that had to jet out early. Obviously, they didn't get anything because they didn't hang around. But I think for the most part, almost everybody's name got drawn for at least one thing, which was really cool. So thanks, Andy, for providing some stuff. Also, Michelle, with her Etsy store, Tea for Its Treasures. Appreciate you guys so much for providing some goodies for our players. It always feels real good when you go to a tournament and, you know, if you're not in the top 3 and you don't win something for being, you know, one of the winners of a tournament, it's nice to just still get something for your time. And so we appreciate you guys for supporting us holding tournaments. So drum roll, please.
I got nothing for
cool.
you.
On to the main topic, which I have pulled up on the screen already. We're gonna get through these faction focus articles. There's not a lot of insightful detail in these. That's kind of like when they say faction focus, it's more or less like an overview of some things and a couple war scrolls. So it's not like you're not going to get a full like deep dive into these different articles when they post them, but they did post 4 this past week, and we'll get into those now. The first thing I wanted to touch on was the article they put out right before the faction focus things, and they basically just break down like the gist of some of the basic units in the game.
Yeah.
So here's your hit and wound basic roles for all the different unit types or races type thing. They're just giving you an idea of what they base stuff off of. Now these could be plus or minus up and down depending on what kind of unit it is or whatever, but this is kind of what they were like the baseline stats for some of the factions. So I did give us that. The other thing they gave us in this first article was the universal weapon abilities, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I have not seen this. I didn't even realize it.
So, and I didn't remember this either, and I was just going through that first article from Monday, just in case there was anything in there. But this is kind of important. We don't have to read through all of this. It's pretty self-explanatory what the things do. The first one being anti-X, which anything with anti, and X is just a placeholder for anything, whether it's anti-hero, anti-charge.
I see.
When you get a weapon with this ability, it gives you something when you attack whatever the anti-X is. So if you're fighting a hero, it's anti-hero plus 1 rend, right? So you're going to get plus 1 rend when you fight a hero for that particular weapon, which is real neat because you can sub in a bunch of different things. They can also change this in the future to give, you can add in different things to be anti-whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. And this stacks too. So they had the example in here that if you had an anti-charge and an anti-hero, so if you get charged by a hero, you're going to get 2 rend.
I don't know if that's in the game or if it's just an example, but it seems good.
That's an example. I don't know if anybody, they haven't shown anything that has like anti-charge and anti-hero on a weapon or a unit. So, but they say it is possible here. So they could do this in the future. The next one is charge. It gives plus 1 damage. So if you have charge plus 1 damage, obviously, if you charge, you get plus 1 damage. So that'll be like, I'm certain that'll be on like cavalry units probably. With that used to have impact hits, probably changes to plus 1 damage. Companion, If it's companion, the weapon doesn't get affected by any effects that affect the attack characteristic. So if you all out attack, attack characteristic, that's just the amount of attacks or the attack sequence. So maybe this can't be modified at all. So if you have a companion, which is usually it's just like a little pet or a bird or
I think they call mounts companions too.
Well, either way, if it appears here that if you have companion keyworded on a melee weapon, that won't get affected by the attack characteristics, things that you affect with your other weapons, which is fine. Whatever.
I feel like that needs to be a little more clarified.
Yeah, we'll probably have to see how that actually works. I mean, if you had companion on a mount, that'd be worse than having a companion like the Stormcast have the little bird dogs, whatever. But whatever. Crit 2 hits. So a lot of these other crit ones are if you roll 6s to hit, you get an effect, which is a crit is a 6 to hit. So 2 hits, exploding hits, right?
Yep.
Crit auto wound, just what it says, auto wounds. Crit mortal, you get mortals on 6s.
So lots of things in the game have those already. It's just they clarified them and put them like on the weapon profile, so it's a lot easier to find instead of digging through the stupid card and everything. I love it.
And this is interesting with the crit mortal though. It goes to mortals on crits, but it equals the damage of whatever the weapon is.
Yeah,
and that's so it's how much mortals.
It's like the poison ability from the Cruel Boys.
Yeah.
Like, so if your damage is D6, it'll be 6 crit. Yeah, it's pretty sexy.
And then the last one is shooting combat, which is mostly going to be on, like short range shooting weapons, like pistols and some of the. We'll see it, but if it has shooting combat, you're allowed to shoot that weapon while you're in combat with something. Yeah. That's basically what this article put out. And then they said they're going to get into the faction focus, which we'll get into now. So it's just a few things to overview real quick of some of the things coming, right?
Yep.
The Stormcast faction focus.
Mostly, a lot of stuff was already put out from this, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, they give you, like, in all these articles, it's basically the same thing. They give you a little bit of, like, backstory, a little wording on the overview of the army, which we're not going to read word for word through because apparently we ramble too much. Yeah, that's a dig. But they give you some battle traits for all the armies. Stormcast in particular have a few things. I mean, there's just this. Yeah, I mean, this is basically like the stuff that they did already. They just rewrote into how the new 4th edition rules are, right? So in the deployment phase, the Stormcast still get to take units and put them in the sky, which is now called the Celestial Realm. It's worded a little bit different because it says if you have a unit on the battlefield, then you can pick another one to put in reserve, type of thing. Before you could just start putting stuff in reserve. So I guess you gotta have to something on the board first and then put something in the reserve, but that's fine, right? Same thing you're gonna do anyway. And then the science
thing. Yep. I mean, yeah, this is the same as they put out like early in the reveals.
Yeah.
You could bring your stuff down in the movement phase. It has to be 9 away from everything.
Right.
Yeah.
This is interesting to me because this particular one is spend a command point once per battle. So you pick any non-unique Stormcast infantry or cavalry unit. Doesn't say that it's non-hero, right? But it has to have. Well, it has to have 2 or more models, I guess. So you couldn't do a hero. Okay. Yeah.
But it could be 2 dragons. Like if you have a unit with 2 dragons.
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, anyway, you pick a dead unit, you spend a command point, you essentially rally them back at half strength, and then you bring them in 9 inches away from someone. So now Stormcast, this is obviously to replace their old Holy Command, where they could bring back a replacement unit, right, or whatever. But it's a free. It's like a free rally, essentially, right? Or recursion. I mean.
Yeah, it's recursion, but it's half a unit, which is fine. But I mean, I think before you had to roll a 4 up to get the unit back. Yeah.
No, you still spent a command point, but it was limited to what units you could bring back. It was only Redeemer units, which were just the foot troops. This includes infantry and cavalry now. So you could bring back Fulminators or dragons or like crazy. But yeah, which is fine. I guess maybe they need it. I don't know how they balance these armies out, but maybe they need to bring some models back. Yeah. And then they actually inherited their finest hour. So there's no heroic abilities anymore, but you're going to use this ability in the hero phase. And it's pick a friendly Stormcast unit, okay, any unit, and for the rest of the turn they get the old finest hour, so +1 to wounding rolls and +1 to saves.
Yeah, strong. That's ridiculous.
Pretty good to be able to put on any unit you want.
Yeah.
And it's not a once per battle thing; it's a once per turn in your hero phase, so you can hand this out every single turn, which you're gonna, right? Doesn't cost you nothing. Something's getting finest hour every single turn.
Yep.
Pretty cool. So the battle formations is the new sub-faction abilities. Now, in these articles, they only give us 1 per army to look at, which is a little weird because you'd think they would at least spelled out some of the other ones, but I guess that's the teaser that they're doing here.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the Stormcast Eternals, they are. And let's see the new one for the new models, which is called Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels. Kind of a weird name. It's long and it's weird, I think. But that's what's going to house some of these new units. So what do we have here for their ability?
Just looks like a 5 upward save for the rest of the turn. If you want on any unit, looks like once per turn, any hero phase. So both players' hero phases, you just pick a Ruination Chamber unit, and that unit gets a 5 up ward save. It doesn't say like you can only pick a unit once per game. So I mean, you could pick the same unit every time. It looks like. That's strong. 5 up ward save for the turn. You get somebody a little stuck in out there, pushed away, and at the start of each player's turn, you just say, "Okay, here we go. We're going to give them that 5 up."
Yeah, I'm kind of digging this. I mean, like, so already we see that Stormcast has finest hour, so +1 to wounds and +1 to save. Now you can give that unit also a 5 up ward for free.
Yeah.
They're gonna be tough to kill, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna have some staying power. It seems like, which they're pros in giant armor. So
yeah, they should be able to take a hit. So we did get one prayer that Stormcast is going to be able to have access to. Chance on a 6, so chances are you can't get it in one turn.
Yeah.
So it's going to be you pick a friendly Stormcast infantry unit wholly within 12. Roll your chanting roll, and then you know what? This is going to be interesting. Just as a side note, I wonder if if you don't have a infantry unit within 12 of a priest, can you make the roll? As rules is written here.
I mean, it says during the declare step, you pick a friendly priest to chant the prayer, and you have to pick a visible friendly Stormcast unit wholly within 12. So I don't think you can continue.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Interesting wording there, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just pray just to pray to build your points up.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, goes off on a 6, so you're going to need to chant probably twice at least. But if you get this off, you give them blessed weapons. You add 1 to the tax characteristics of that melee weapon for the to the start of your next turn. If the chanting roll was a 12 plus, so if you bank your points, you get a better effect, and it affects all visible Stormcast Eternal units wholly within 12 of the chanter.
Yeah.
So and it doesn't. This doesn't limit the bonus. Doesn't limit to infantry.
Yeah.
It's all units.
Yeah.
So
with the bonus one.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. It's just not reliable. Even the 6. The 6 isn't reliable. You would have to plan that out 2 turns.
Yeah.
In ahead. Like if you need it right now, you're like, man, I really need to get some extra, some extra power here. You're not going to go, okay, I need this 6 and then just hope to roll a 6. You're going to have to plan like 2 turns ahead. It's just going to be like a bonus. Like it's not going to be like this thing that you can rely on to.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's going to take you at minimum 3 turns to get to 12.
3 turns for the 12.
Yeah. So maybe you bank it, maybe you just do that.
I mean, honestly, it's 4 turns for the 12. The average roll on 3d6 is
3,
10.5.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, whatever. I mean, yeah. Praying seems a little weird unless there's going to unless the game is going to give you some kind of innate bonus to chanting.
I'm sure some people.
It's going to be hard to get to like the 12 pluses and stuff. So, anyways, that's a prayer that they give us. Then they go into these unit focus parts of the article, which they give you a couple war scrolls to review. Some of the stuff they didn't show you before. The first one they give us for this one is Krondus.
Nice.
Some of the stuff is kind of interesting in this. I mean, he's basically the same kind of dude. However, I'm sure he did not have 12 health in 20 in previous iterations, because I don't think most anything had 20 except giants, maybe.
Yeah.
So 20 health on a 3-up save. He still only controls score of 5. But I think I always like the big dragons, so see what it looks like here. His Blazing Tempest is his range weapon with 1 shot. 2s and 3s, Ren 2, D3 plus 3 damage, which is cool damage profile. And he gets to do that in combat. So, yeah, be wary if you get into combat with him, I guess.
Breathes fire.
Yep. He's got 2 melee attacks, 3s and 2s on both of them, Rend 2 both, and then damage 4 for his bites, which is anti-infantry plus 1 Rend for if he's fighting into infantry units. And then 2 damage on his talons. Now, I heard that he lost a tail attack from his previous scroll, which people liked. I think it was like a sweeping tail type of attack. Must have a lot of attacks or something. But here's how they're going to do the damage table stuff now, because this is the first time I think we've seen this. Yeah. So if it has this little skull icon, there's a passive ability, While this unit has 10 or more damage points, the attack characteristic of them all is 2. So it reduces his attacks, and there's no like actual big table you got to reference. It's just the thing.
Easy.
So it's easier to
Movement's
work out.
Yeah. All the stuff's the same except for that. So that's pretty cool.
Apparently this is the magical dragon because he's +2 to casting.
He's a wizard 2.
Yeah.
If you look there at the bottom.
Yep. So wizard 2, and he's +2 casting, so pretty reliable, I think. Once per turn in his combat phase, this is his monstrous rampage. He has a soul-shaking roar. On a 3-up, somebody can't use commands the rest of the turn. Pretty awesome.
That's pretty strong.
Yep. And then he does have a War Scroll spell, which casts on an 8. Pick an enemy with an 18, roll your cast, and then you pick one of the following effects. So he's got 3 different effects he can hand out. Subtract 1 to hit rolls, subtract 1 from rend, or subtract 1 from save rolls for the target. So any one of the debuffs you want to put on something with an 18, you can do that. And he's +2, so it's really a 6 to cast. So pretty reliable, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he looks pretty good. It just occurred to me that, I mean, that's just the old roar, except for it also works. Oh, there is no bravery at the end. So, I mean, it's literally just the old roar.
It's just a roar. Yeah, it's fine. Like I said, I mean, that's what he has on his War Scroll. So, and maybe we'll see this type of thing on a lot of monsters. Maybe
soul shaking roar. Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of roar that effectively is the same as the old roar because it was the best one.
They wouldn't put that on the card if it was in the rule book for every monster.
Right. So it's going to be unique. Every monster is going to have some kind of rampage, I think, that's unique to them. Which cuts down on decision time, right? You just do, this is your thing. That's what you do.
Yep.
So the next one that they let us see is the War Scroll for Yndrasta, which she seems pretty cool, I think, now. She might be playable. 8 health on a 3-up save, 2 control, moves 12. She's got the special spear, which is a ranged attack. Yeah, Logan, I think she is scary now. 12-inch range, 1 attack, 3s, 2s, -2, 4 damage, anti-monster, +1 rend. So you're going to be -3 rend, 4 damage apiece when you throw your spear at a monster. I know it's 1, but also the anti-monster is on the same spear for when you're in combat. So it's 2 attacks, baseline 2s and 2s. Rend will be 3 against monsters for 3 damage apiece. And then she does have Blades of the Heavens, 5 attacks, 3s, 3s, -2, 3 damage. Look at this damage profile. 4, 3, and 3.
Yeah, she can put out some damage. I mean, as usual, I mean, I think that she'll be good against like things like monsters, because I mean, in a turn she could throw her spear, then charge in. So she's looking at what, 6? Max 25 damage against monsters. That's strong. What else?
Double that.
Oh.
The passive effect, double the damage characteristics of this unit's spear for attacks that target monsters. So the ranged and the melee is double damage into monsters.
25. I mean, so you could do 50 damage in one turn against a monster if you throw your spear and then charge it and beat it up and you hit with everything and wound with everything. That's a dead giant.
She is she's a monster annihilator.
We'll see how many points she ends up being, but yeah, I mean, she's
it's pretty cool. She also has another passive ability. On the Wings of Brilliance, add 1 to the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for this unit to a maximum of 3. So guess what you're doing? You're staying at 12-inch range, so you can shoot, and then you're 3d6 charging.
Yeah, all day.
And then the final one is another passive ability, Dazzling Radiance. You ignore negative effects to the control score for friendly Stormcast units while they're wholly within 12 of her, which is cool. Like, because there's going to be a lot of like negative to control things being handed out in the 4th edition game, I believe. So this just negates that. No, Logan, you're wrong because nothing kills Usharan.
I did the math. Fuck Usharan.
Yeah, she's gonna be nasty against against monsters. So she'll probably be taken. I'm gonna guess in some lists.
I mean,
she seems fun just for that.
She's a awesome model. So
yeah.
I mean, this last, like, they put her out, and her model was gorgeous, and nobody played with her because she just wasn't that good. And I think she's going to see some play now. You're right.
Yeah. The next one they give us is the Knight Arcanum. 6 health on a 3-up save. Control 2. Moves 5. Standard profile for a foot dude. It's got a staff. 3s and 3s. -1 D3 damage. Anti-manifestation. That's something we haven't seen before.
Well, the manifestations are the
endless spells. Yep.
And things. Yeah, so she gets to beat down on them.
Yep.
Be interesting.
Passive ability, so +1 casting for units that use this to summon ability, and add 1 to banishment rolls. So if you're gonna cast out invocations, you get +1 to cast for that or banish them. Enemy manifestations cannot pass through or end the move within this unit's combat range. So she like deters, enemy manifestations. And then they have this. She has a 4-up ward against mortal damage inflicted by manifestations. So pretty cool, especially if manifestations are going to be in every army now. Everyone's going to take them for free. So here's your little tech piece against it.
And she's a wizard 1, so she'll have some other lore. But I mean, that piece is more proficient at casting them, more proficient in getting rid of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, not bad for a little foot wizard, but that's the shtick with this guy, right? Because all Stormcast heroes basically have one thing they do, and this guy helps out with manifestations all around. So, thumbs up. That's cool. Annihilators. This is where the disappointment sets in. So, 4-up move, same thing. 3 health, 2-up save. Count as 1 as control. They lost a lot of their output, is basically what happens here. They don't have any weapon ability, which would have been nice to see something there. 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage. Okay. Standard foot troop dude, right? They do get the brace for impact on the charge. So they pick an enemy unit that charged this turn. So if they get charged, you roll dice for each model in this unit. If any of them are 6s, then the target strikes last. Not the way they used to work, right? Because you used to want to bring them down and charge these dudes in. Now these are the shield boys, so maybe they decided these are going to be a wall instead of a charging unit. Because this tells me right now that you don't bring these dudes in 9 inches away from somebody and try to get a charge off. Right?
No.
These are a shield you drop down as a screen in front of something.
Right.
So a little bit different play there. And then their blazing impact. Basically, this is how you set them up. So you set this unit up from the Scions of the Storm ability like you normally would. You pick up to 3 enemies within 10 inches of this target. You roll D3 for each enemy. On a 2-up, inflict the amount of mortal damage that your roll is. So it's either going to be a 2 or a 3 damage, right?
Right.
But that's if you put them within 10 inches. I mean, you may just drop these things in front of your dragons or in front of a hero or something to do, like, get in front of a charge, basically, and take the impact.
But I mean, they're still theoretically going to be inside of 10 of something, so they'll still do a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, that's not like a thing that they're not going to do. I'm just saying you're not going to drop them out of the sky, do some mortals, charge them in, do some mortals, then fucking just annihilate whatever it touched.
Well, the shield guys weren't annihilating stuff anyway.
They were still kind of strong because they got extra stuff on the charge when they charged in, but
did they show a scroll for the big hammer boys?
No, this is the only one.
All right, so I bet that they separated them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, these guys are built to hold the shield up, be a wall, and take some suffering. But like, we don't know the Grand Hammer ones. Maybe the Grand Hammer ones are the dudes that just on their charge they do damage, like impact hits or something.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to get too much into like the spearhead stuff of these articles, because there's not a lot that we didn't see already. They did go through and say, like, for the Stormcast, they're going to have 2 separate spearhead armies you can play. One being the new bottles that come in the box set for 4th edition, and the one that they've already previously announced with Yndrasta, some Annihilators, some Vanquishers, and a Chariot. So 2 different versions that you can play in Spearhead to start off with. So that's kind of cool. Maybe more armies will end up having 2 different versions of Spearhead, which would give some different variation of play, which would be cool.
Right.
I mean, they give the Prosecutor's War Scroll, but this is the Spearhead War Scroll. So just basically the only thing that stays the same is like is the movement characteristic stuff, and then the actual stat lines for the weapons. Like, the abilities will have something to do, but it isn't going to be exactly the same as 4th edition AoS.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend time on going through those too much.
Well, that's fine. We can skip that.
But that's the Prosecutor War Scroll for Spearhead. If you guys want to, pause and take a look at it. They do break down what the Spearhead army traits are, but they're basically like a version of what we already went over. So they're going to give a 5-up ward to a unit, and they just call it something else that you get to do in your hero phase. They get run and charge once per battle. So, yeah, it's all right. I mean, like, sure, it's going to be a different play style in Spearhead. So, but that basically rounds off what they show us for Stormcast.
Yeah.
The next one that they came out with, obviously, was Skaven.
Which is actually what we're all here for.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how excited people were for this one. I mean, I know they were excited to get it. I don't know what in this article they might have been like super cheesed about, though. I mean, the artwork is fantastic.
I see what you did there with the cheesed.
Yeah, the cheese. Again, you guys can read through the overview of the article. I mean, the art team did a fantastic job in these articles, at least. I mean, they have a lot of cool stuff. The art pieces that they put in here. Anyway, that's a side note. Battle traits for Skaven. Why don't you take this one away, since you're a cheesehead?
That's fine. So Lurking Vermintide is going to let you pick a unit that's not been deployed and then set it up in reserve in the tunnels below, and it counts as deployed. So basically, they're going to deep strike, but they're going to deep strike from their tunnels. And then if you look over on the right, the null hole ambush is when something's in the tunnels below, you can set it up wholly within 6 of that tunnel and more than 9 from all the enemy units. So it's just your deep strike, but it's from your tunnels. The cool thing about the tunnels is they're splinters of the Vermin Doom. If they have less than 3 null holes on the table, you could set up a null hole on the table. And you could do that more than 9 from all enemy units, more than 1 inch from all friendly units, and more than 3 from objectives and other terrain features. And that's once per battle round at the start of the battle round. So you're always, somebody comes and blows up your fucking null hole, you're going to throw down another null hole.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, so it's any time you have less than 3.
Yeah.
Pretty notable.
So that's fantastic. Yep. I don't know that they showed a null hole to determine if you actually get to start with one on the table. We'll have to wait and see.
They have the War Scroll in here.
Okay, good, because I actually never looked at the articles. I'm winging this shit too. It looks like Logan's here for this and for some ghosts. Okay, You start with one. Thank you, Logan. Also passive ability, when you run away, you don't take that D3 damage. Pretty good. Good.
On the retreat. Yep.
And then once per turn per army in the enemy hero phase, you pick a non-friendly monster unit, and that was not set up this turn, and he can use a normal move ability as if it were your movement phase.
Yep.
So you just pick a guy in the enemy hero phase. You can move him just as normal, as long as you didn't just set him up this turn. Pretty strong.
Yeah, hero phase move is good.
Stuff. Yep, enemy hero phase move is real good. So let's see what else we got here. I'm excited to see, since I'm winging it.
And then this, we're down into the battle formations, so old subfactions, and they give us a glimpse. Yep.
Flesh Meld Menagerie. Okay, so that'll be like the Molder stuff, it looks like. So pick up the 3 non-hero Molder units, and they get to roll on the table. When is this? Once per turn in your hero phase. Yep. So 1 and 2, you take D3 mortals, because you're Skaven, and why would you ever want to not hurt yourself?
That's true.
3 and 4, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the melee weapons until the start of your next turn. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Extra attacks is always the best. And then on a 5 and 6, blinded by frenzy, you're gonna get the stuff from above, so you get your +1 attack, but you're also gonna get a 5-up ward. That's pretty solid. Yeah, Logan says he likes what Molder looks like. I agree.
That's pretty sexy for some rat ogres. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So we'll see what else is in the Molder section. You never know what's going to get changed, but they look good. Manifestations. So Warp Lightning Vortex used to be one of the most broken spells in the game when it first came out. It used to like slow your movement and do all kinds of things. Do a bunch of mortals. Now it looks like it's going to go off on a 7. And wholly within 18 of, just within 18 for the first piece, invisible. And then you set up the other pieces in a triangle, 7, inches from each other. So, okay.
That's just how you set it up. Here is the War Scroll.
Yep. As all spells have, it's got that 6-up save, and I'm sure a ward we can't quite see down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
But health is 7, and then to banish it on a 7 also. So normal. 6-up ward. Yeah. Let's see. Multiple parts when the number of damage points equal to. So if you hit one piece and blow it up, it all goes away.
Yep. That's good. That's good.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense. You wouldn't want to have residual shit. And so pick each enemy unit within 6 of it. When you set it up on a 4-up, it takes D3 mortals. It's a solid ability. Oh no. If it was not set up this turn. So the first turn it comes out, it doesn't do mortals. Then every turn after that, anything within 6 will take mortals on a 4-up. That's interesting.
Yep.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, I think they reduced the effectiveness of the spell now.
Yeah. And then you subtract 2 from run rolls and charge rolls if something's within 6. If an enemy unit passes across it, it takes D3 mortal damage after the move ability has been resolved. So I guess, okay, so if you're close to it, you take damage every turn after the first. If you're near it and you move through it, you're going to take the damage anytime you move through it, and you're subtracting 2 from your run rolls and charge rolls.
Yep.
I mean, it still looks like a good enough spell. It's going to be useful, especially with Scryer, where you're trying to slow people down from getting to you. You're going to put it out in front of you, kind of as a deterrent, and also it's going to do some damage, and it's going to keep you from getting into your stuff. So
yeah.
We'll see. I think it has some play. We'll see how many. Or it's no points, is it? It's going to be in their thing. So
manifest. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know I'm not familiar with the old version. I don't know if it if before it affected all units within range of it. Now it's enemy units.
It was only enemy units.
Was it before? Okay. Yeah. Logan makes a random note that Molder buffs can buff Storm Fiends now, which hadn't worked before.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they. I can't remember if they showed the Storm Fiend card, but I thought that Storm Fiend was Molder and Scryer before, but it definitely is now. So I have seen this Screech Vermin King. So they showed us one of the big baddies. 10 move, 13 health because 13 Skaven. Control 5 because he's a monster, and a 4-up save. I guess that's okay. His weapon is solid, 7 swings, potential 21 damage. Actually, he crits 2 hits on crits, so
yep.
Potentially 24 damage, I would say, is going to be your max. Well, unless you roll all 6s. So 3s and 2s to hit and wound, and then 2 rend, 3 damage. So that's a strong weapon for a strong demon. That's the way it should be. Has a spell in your hero phase, goes off on 7, the dreaded 13th, which is a spell he's always had. It's a enemy unit within 13. You cast a roll. If you roll 13 dice, and for each 5 up, you do a mortal wound, and for each model you kill, you get to put a clan rat on the table. So it's similar to what it was. I thought before that you used to replace models with clan rats. Now you don't have to do that. You can just add models to your units. So that's cool. Once per turn in any enemy combat phase or any combat phase, it has this. Okay, this is his rampage. So on a 3-up, he's going to get to target no commands. So he's going to, it's like a roar. And also, is this, you get to do both? Yeah. Subtract an amount equal to the roll from the target's control score until the start of your next turn. That's really strong. I mean, if you're going against a 5-man infantry unit, their control might be 5. And if you roll a 5, they control 0.
Yep.
That's strong. And then in your hero phase, apparently you get to do 13-headed one. Pick one of the following effects to apply until the start of your next phase. You cannot pick the same effect more than once per battle. So, Commander of the Vermin, he adds 1 to the charge roll for Vermentus units that are wholly within 13. Okay. Nor of Warp Tech. So this is going to be okay. So he's basically the leader.
He hands out buffs to any type. Yeah.
Yep. So you can bring him in any faction. So you're playing with Scryer. You can add 1 to hit rolls for shooting attacks. For Scryer models wholly within 13. That's awesome. For Eshin, he adds 1 to the rend roll or rend characteristic of weapon, wholly within 13. For Pestilence, he adds 1 to chanting rolls. Okay, so there's one way to buff your chanting, like we talked about a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then Molder, he can heal D3 from all of your ogre models and your Storm Fiends. So that's pretty cool. I would say, and he has a 5-up ward, and he's a Wizard 1. So I would say overall, other than a Wizard 1, that's a little bit interesting. He's friggin' strong.
Yeah. I think he's got a lot of play. I mean, especially if you're going to run him in any of the battle formations, right? Because he's got all the keywords.
Yeah.
So he's going to help out whatever you want.
He's going to see some play.
Yep.
All right. I really like that rampage with the extra bonus, the Roar Plus. Rat Ogres. Here we go. So health 4, only control 1. Interesting. Move 6 and save 5 up. Warp fire gun. So they're going to have 10-inch 2d6 shots, hits on 2s, wounds on 4s with 2 rend and 1 damage that can shoot in combat. Strong weapon. especially if you pop off on your attacks, you're going to have an average of 7. So, in each and
Yeah, well, only one model gets the gun though.
Oh, it does say that.
Yeah.
1 and 3. And that's the way it was modeled. I was kind of trying to look around and figure that out. And then your attacks are 5 swings, 4 up, 3 up, 1 rend, and 2 damage. So, I mean, he's pretty average, I would say. But with the extra potential of 1 attack, and then maybe the ward save from the army ability, that would be pretty good. And then his in any combat phase, he can inflict D3 mortal damage on this unit to add 1 attack characteristic to the unit's melee weapons for the rest of the turn. So it could deal itself some extra damage.
And then it'll be 6 attacks apiece. Yeah. That's pretty decent.
Yeah. 6 attacks, and then if you do the army ability, you potentially could have 7 attacks on a 3+. So yeah, that's not bad at all. 7 swings, potentially 14 damage per.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad for just an elite unit of punchy boys.
Yeah.
With a shooting attack. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, the shooting attack's just bonus, I feel like. The models is modeled that way, and it always has been. All right, Warp Lightning Cannon. Now we're talking about some tech here. So 8 health, 3 move, 4 up save, and 2 control, which I don't think you're rolling that thing out on any objectives anytime. But I mean, I guess if you have a home objective.
Yeah.
So it has a 20-inch shot. Love it. Love to see it. 2d6 shots, hitting on 4s, and we'll see below for the wound, rend, and damage. And then it has some attacks. Who cares? Let's talk about the Warp Lightning Blast shot. So each attack made with this weapon in a single phase must target the same enemy unit, so no splitting. Each hit inflicts 1 mortal, and that's it. So you're rolling 2d6, and half the shots should hit for mortals.
Yep.
I don't hate that at all. And then
once per turn, pretty good normal. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Once per turn in your shooting phase, more and more Warp Lightning, because Scryer likes to boost its stuff. You add 6 attacks to the characteristic, and for the rest of the turn, however, every time you roll a 1, you take D3 mortals after your shooting is resolved. So you're going to add 6 attacks, so it'll be 2d6 plus 6. In essence, adding theoretically 3 mortals to your roll, and then you're going to take a little damage.
Yeah, don't roll 1s, boys.
I mean, you're in pretty good shape there. I mean, theoretically, you're going to roll 2d6. You're going to have 7 shots. You're going to hit with half of them. You think 6, 3, and 3? It's
2d6. I mean, what's the average of 2d6? 7?
7. Yeah.
Plus 7. The 6.
Oh, right. Yeah.
If you're jacking it up, right? So 13 shots.
13 shots. You're going to hit with half of them, so we'll call it 6.5, and you're going to wound yourself with 1, maybe 2. So
that one, not if you're a Skaven player. If you're a Skaven player, you're going to roll 4 1s, and the thing's going to blow up in 1 turn. But you'll have 1 good shot go off.
I wonder if they have a way to repair and heal. All right, let's
maybe
let's roll through.
Here's your Nighthaunt.
Oh, okay. So Nighthaunt, 6 health, 4 up save. Like we said, somewhere on here it's going to say that you can start with 1 on the table. Oh yeah, here in the once per turn army, end of your turn. Pick a friendly unit that's this is recursion. So you can bring back a unit, half a unit, round it up, wholly within 6, and more than 3 from enemy units for 1 command point. So just like the Stormcast that was shown us above, they have a half a unit recursion, which is cool. So models can pass through it. Every time an enemy moves. So enemy models can pass through it apparently, but can't be set up or end moves on it. And if you go across it, you take D3 mortals on a 2-up.
Yeah, so if you walk over the top of it for some reason, you're just going to take some damage.
Yeah. And then Tunnels to Reality. You pick a Skaven unit that's not in combat and wholly within 6. and you remove the target unit, and then you can just put it in another gnaw hole.
Yep.
So, yeah. I mean, that's
But interesting now that you cannot shut off gnaw holes, right? Before it's like if you were within 3 inches of it, you couldn't. The rats couldn't go through it. So now you can't. I mean, unless you surround it or something, because they can still come out within 6 inches of it as long as they're more than 9 inches away from you.
Yeah, and it does provide cover, but I guess that's if you're within 1 inch of it, because you can't end or be set up on it. So if you're within 1 inch of it, you're going to get covered.
But it does not have a ward save, so just a 4-up save and 6 health. So if somebody wanted to, they're just going to go beat on it with some unit next to it and kill it, probably.
But I mean,
but you'll be able to bring more back, yeah. So, again, the spearhead spotlight for this is just what comes in the box. Not everything that comes in the box, but Rat Ogres, the Claw Lord, the new mounted hero guy, and then 2 units of clan rats.
Yeah.
Again, some of the Skaven abilities within Spearhead. They do give a Spearhead War Scroll for the Grey Seer, which again is, we'll do some Spearhead related things probably in the future. But this is just an example of the War Scroll for the Grey Seer in Spearhead.
Yeah.
The next one on the list is Gitz.
Yep. Okay.
So, I think this one was a little bit disappointing for people. I know Roush was saying he wasn't overly thrilled with the article. But they didn't give him a lot of stuff to go off of here either. The battle traits for Gitz basically just spells out how the Bad Moon works, and it's essentially the same exact way it moved before. Starts in a corner, moves to the middle, moves to the opposite corner. So that remained exactly the same.
Yep.
The passive abilities of the light, if you had certain units under the light, you got different bonuses. So it just explains like how the quarters of the battlefield are considered under the moon. If they're in the corners, whatever. If it's in the center, it's the whole board. But the effects are while it's under the light of the bad moon, you get a certain effects applied to certain units, right?
Yeah.
So if the unit is a non-squig Moon Clan unit, add 3 to its control score, which is probably okay for like stabbas and stuff.
Real good, I think. Yep.
Squigs get re-roll their random movement characteristic.
Good.
And Trogs get +1 to save. And then Spider Fangs get crits on 5-ups instead of 6s.
So we get a lot of information just from that. So Squigs are going to keep their random movement, which blows. Trogs are going to be tough as shit because they're going to get +1 to their save, and we're keeping spiders in the faction because they're going to get a bonus too. So nice.
All right. We're trying not to make this a very long show, so we're going to try to speed up it a little bit here.
Plus, nobody cares about these.
Yeah, I mean, like the battle formations, you get Squivalanche. They get +1 attacks, so they had that before. All Squig units with their bites, they get +1 attacks. They do have this sneaky distraction spell. It goes off in a 7. At the start of your next turn, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units wholly within 12 of the caster. So they still hand
good.
out their -1 to hit. Scragrot does Scragrot things. He is a Wizard 2 with a 4-up ward. I think he had that before. Once per battle, as a reaction to the Bad Moon orbit, you can choose that it doesn't move. And he had that before.
Yep.
His spell that he has is pretty much the same, I think, as the Mortal Wound spell. So it goes off on a 7. You pick a number of dice equal to the unmodified casting roll, and then for each 3-up, you inflict a Mortal Wound onto the target.
Yeah. Before it went off a little bit lower, I want to say it went off on like a 3.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah.
You were going to get a 3. There was a pretty good chance you were going to dispel it anyways, and you were trying to get those high numbers anyways. So it's still good.
The one cool thing that he did get is when you declare the redeploy command and you roll, there's no range here. Oh no, I'm sorry, there is in the description. So Moon Clan unit within 12 of him, if you roll a 1, 2, or a 3 when determining your redeploy, it counts as a 4. So you're always guaranteed a 4-up redeploy.
Yeah, it's really strong.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, Gabapalooza, they still hand out buffs like they did before. Obviously, their attack characteristic, who cares? They're not going to be in fights. They have a passive ability. In the first round, this unit has a 4-up ward, second round, 5-up ward, and a subsequent rounds, 6-up wards.
It's the same as before.
The hero phase effect that they have on a 3-up, they can hand out one of the following effects. They can add 1 to run and charge rolls. They could add 1 to rend. Or they can pick a unit within 12, and the unit, until your next turn, cannot use a command.
So I feel like they could do multiple abilities last time, so this is a nerf on this.
Yeah, each one of the guys had a thing they could do, I think. Each one of the named guys. So
in order to make it a little simpler, I think, and maybe just faster, they've cut down on what this unit can do overall. Yeah.
They do have Wizard 1, so they can cast a lore scroll spell, so that's another thing they can do, I guess.
They're not unique.
Yeah. Just infantry.
But they only have 3 wounds.
Yeah.
That's per model.
Yeah, per model. So it's like 15 wound model. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 15 wound wizard with 5 attacks and can do a special ability and has a ward save. I mean, it depends on how many points it is.
They're going to take them still to give out the buffs.
Yeah, and just I mean, because they're a good caster. Okay.
Squig Herd. So here's your random move D6 plus 3.
Okay, D6 plus 3.
I think before it was like 2D6, period, or something like that.
No, these other ones were just D6, I think.
Were they? Okay. 6-up save, which is nothing. And guess what? They fixed it. Health 1.
There you
go. They have this companion. So again, that's
them. They're the companion.
Yeah, they're the companions of themselves, so they can't benefit from the effects that companion things don't get. They have some prodders, so 1 in every 6 models is a prodder, which is the new name for herder, I guess. Or no, that is the herder. The prodder is the weapon. They have a passive beast ability. The maximum control value is 1, so the whole unit counts as 1.
No.
Yeah. The maximum control score is 1.
Right. So that means you can't use stuff to buff. I think they're.
Nope.
I think that they would still be.
Score is the keyword for the unit total value.
Really?
The control characteristic up here is per model. This says the control score of 1.
Interesting. So you just can't control shit with them.
Yep.
can't see them getting played.
Yeah, I mean, they nerfed the crap out of these dudes. They used to be 2 health. I mean, they still have... Okay, let's just figure out if they're good. So they have a passive effect each time this model is in the unit is slain. In combat, the attacking unit rolls dice. On a 5-up, they inflict 1 mortal damage to the unit after the fight ability is resolved. So they still explode, but they only explode onto the unit that they fought or fought them.
5-up.
Yep. There's no more 9-inch range effect of this, so that got nerfed.
Characters, yeah.
And then in your hero phase, roll a dice for each squig herder in the unit. For a 2+, they can return D3 slain squigs to the unit. For each one squig herder in this unit is slain. So they have a chance of killing themselves. But on a 2-up, you're basically bringing back D3 squigs to the unit. So they have kind of a strong recursion in their hero phase that they can just constantly kind of like put back some of these dudes, which is probably pretty strong. It's a little bit of a buff from what they had before, but the rest of it's kind of a downgrade.
Yeah, I would overall say they're worse. We'll see. I mean, having a maximum control score of 1, that doesn't make any sense. But I guess, they don't want them to do that job. So, okay. Oh,
the Shrine has a health 14 4-up save. So you can still destroy this damn thing.
Yep.
Passive ability, when Gitz units are around it gets the Bad Moon abilities like it did before. Yep. And then once per turn for a command point at the end of your turn, you pick a friendly non-hero, non-monster, non-war machine that has been destroyed, and then you just set up a replacement unit with half the models. No more rolling 4-ups to get your models back. Pretty cool.
Yeah, once per turn.
Yep.
If you have a command point.
Yeah. Command point once per turn. But that's what they got. Again, this is going into the spearhead stuff. So the spearhead box looks like this: trolls, bounders, stabbers, and a loon boss. Not going to go through any of the spearhead stuff in this article. So there's your squigs. A little underwhelming. Looks like a lot of their stuff that was once good now took debuffs.
And that's the way of GW. The pendulum's going to swing, so we'll see what becomes good next. Maybe spiders. I hope not. Unless they're planning on putting out new spiders.
All right, last article we're going through, and then we're going to cut the show off. The Ghosty Boys. Again, read through the spiel of the army if you wish. We're here for the stats.
We're here for the deets.
So, battle traits for the army. Ethereal. Same as before.
Nagash.
Yep, Nagash does not get this, but ignore all positive and negative effects to save rolls.
Yep.
A reaction for a command point. Discorporate, which you can pick a friendly unit to get a 5-up board. They had that before. Once per turn in your charge phase, pick a Nighthaunt unit that has not used an Aura of Dread, which is any of these keyworded Aura of Dread's abilities here. And that charge this turn. Then pick an enemy unit within 1. And the unit must be greater than the number of models in the target unit. So if you have more ghosts charging into a smaller unit, subtract 1 from hit rolls for the target. Okay.
Seems strong.
Yep.
But again,
it's
you charge.
Right. Wave of Terror has an effect for friendly Nighthaunt units that are in combat. They can use charge abilities this phase. So they could charge into something else, I guess. However, if the unit is in combat and uses the charge ability and the charge roll is 3 or less, the unit does not count as having charged them. So I think this what this is going to do, essentially, is say you're in combat with something, right?
Yeah.
Instead of retreating them and then moving them back in on a 3-up charge, you just roll the charge again without moving your models 100 different times. That's what this does to me.
Yeah, that'll speed things up. That's actually true.
Yeah,
I was thinking that meant you could charge out of combat into something else, which maybe
you probably can do that. It says you can use the charge ability. Yeah.
This point,
but if you don't roll a 3, you got to roll a 3 up to do it anyway.
It counts as charging a unit that you're in combat with, even. Right. But if you roll,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then a couple of the Aura of Dread abilities. So one.
I just want to see. Yep. When is that? Only in your go back up. Scroll. There you go. Your charge phase. Okay.
Yeah, your charge phase. Yeah. And then you could use the stun. Pick a friendly Nighthaunt, War Machine, or Cavalry that's not used Aura of the Dread ability. When they finish a charge within an inch, whatever. You subtract 1 from save rolls for the target for the rest of the turn. So -1 to save.
That's what they had before.
And then Purify. Pick a friendly Nighthaunt hero that hasn't used an Aura of the Dread ability, and it's charged. Pick an enemy within an inch, and they get strike last. So you just get to pick the things. You don't have to roll like
roll high.
Yeah. You don't have to roll a 10+ or whatever to get the effects. You just, if you qualify for the declare portion of the thing, you do the thing.
Yep, I love that. That's a buff.
Yep. That's good for them.
And being able to charge in combat is a buff.
Yep.
I still don't know how much I like them as only being good on their turn when they charge. But, I mean, at least they made that a little bit easier and a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
The passive ability for Deathstalkers subfaction. As friendly Nighthaunt units can use a charge ability if they ran or retreated. So.
Let's go.
Okay.
Fucking awesome.
No, now.
Okay. So that's something I had before. The spell Shade Mist they had before. You can go ahead and read through that.
Subtract 1 from the wound rolls for attacks that target that unit till the start of your next turn. So on a 6-up. Pretty good. -1 to wound. It's strong. We'll see what's going on here. And I don't have control of the scroll here, so we'll have to wait and see if we're going to continue rolling. So far, I really like what we're doing with the ghosts. Lots of debuffs like they had before. But we'll have to wait and see what they come up with the rest. Let me see if I can bring up the thing, and I can just keep reading through the article, regardless of having it on the screen here. Yeah, you can roll. Lady O, 8-inch move, 7 health, 4-up save, 2 control. She's got the horrifying visage, 12-inch shot, 2s and 2s, 3 rend, which is freaking ridiculous, D6 damage, and auto wounds on 6s to hit, strong as fuck. And then her Staff of Midnight is 4 swings, 4-up, 3-up, 1 rend, 3 damage, auto wounds. And so do her Spectral Handmaidens. So 6 swings, 4s and 4s, 1 wound, and then auto wound. And that's a companion. It's just her little ghosties that are flying around her. No rest for the wicked. You pick any number of Nighthaunt units on the battlefield for each target, and you can return number of slain models up to the health characteristic of D3 plus 3. That's once per battle, but that's anywhere on the table. That's freaking awesome. Mortark of Grief, you're subtracting 3 from the control scores of any enemy units while they're within 12. Fantastic ability. She's going to control moving in, getting in there, and just kind of keeping people from controlling things. And then her spell is Grief Stricken. She picks a visible enemy unit within 18, rolls 2d6, and ignores positive modifiers for hits, wounds, and save rolls for that target for the rest of the turn. That's really freaking strong. You get your buffs to your saves. You get your buffs to hit and things. Not so fast, sweetheart. She's a wizard. Looks like a wizard too, and she also has the 4-up ward, so she's strong. Maybe a little bit better than before, even.
I got a few more minutes before we actually got to get out the door here to where we're going today. So
Reignor, 12-inch move, health 7, 4 save, 2 control. Looks like the Fell Reaper is pretty good. 3s and 3s, 2 damage, 2 charge damage is +1 damage, so that's strong. An auto wound. Personally, I felt like this guy kind of took a little bit of a nerf. He can take a damage or pick a unit that's an enemy to take a damage, and if he does that, he adds 1 to the casting roll for the rest of the turn, and then if he picks himself, he gets 1 to casting roll and his unit's power level. So, okay. He's a wizard 1 with a 6-up ward. His spell is decent, inflicts D3 mortals on a target within 12. And then if you kill anything with it, you do D3 additional mortals. So if you're doing it against 1 wound infantry. And then Grim Justice, he adds 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls for attacks made by his Fell Reaper if he's fighting a priest or a wizard. Solid.
Yep.
All right, what else we got here? We got to be getting close.
Yeah, I think
they
just have two. Yeah, they just have 2 little war scrolls left, and that's the end of it.
Yep. So the Dreadbeard Heroes, the big thing with them, they still teleport all over the board, and they're cool, but they come 2 per box. And previously, you had to buy 2 heroes for even if you're going to run 1, but now they're a unit of 2. So that's pretty cool. They still have the big 12-inch move, 3 health. Their attacks are okay, but they're a unit now instead of having 2 bros. So that's pretty much the big take home on them.
Yeah.
And
then the last one.
Like Logan said, Olander is going to be real good. And I think those are going to be interesting in units of 2 also. And then the Banshees, they got a nerf on their spell eaters. Basically, they count as Wizard 1 and can add 1 to unbinding rolls. And if they do unbind something, they inflict D3 damage to the caster. They have 2 swings each on 4s and 3s, 2 rend, D3 damage, and auto wound on crits. So that's not bad. D3 damage is okay. You're going to have 4 models there, so it's 8 attacks. Still only 2 health apiece. They just don't have a lot of staying power. They're going to be you can bring them, and they're going to be a little bit tough, and you could do a little damage if you unbind, or you can bring a wizard. I don't know. I don't know what
but maybe you bring them just to run around and take endless spells off the board.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's that wraps it up.
Oh, they're double the health from what they used to be per Logan.
Yeah, they get 2 health apiece. Yeah.
So, yep. That wraps it up this week. So if you have the kindness in your heart, hit like and subscribe. If you like our show, see you, Deli. Then do us the favor, come to our Discord, check out our stuff, come to our tournaments, and We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So that's about it.
Yep. Appreciate you guys hanging out and chatting today. Until next week, boys. Catch you later.
Goodbye, friends.